It started innocently enough, just a series of distant sounds in the middle of the night. At first, I thought it was a stray animal scuffling around outside my window. But as the days passed, the noises grew louder, closer, scratching against the walls, sometimes in the dead silence just before dawn. I lived alone, tucked away in a secluded cabin near the edge of the woods, where the air was still and the nights were long. I never imagined that something would be watching me out here in the middle of nowhere. One night I woke up with the sense that I wasn't alone. It was a quiet, pressing feeling, like a weight in the air. I lay perfectly still, straining to hear. At first there was only silence, but then I heard it, a soft, wet scratching sound right outside my bedroom window. It was so subtle, almost like fingernails dragging slowly across the glass. My heart pounded as I lay frozen, staring at the shadows dancing on the ceiling. I told myself it was the wind, maybe a tree branch brushing against the side of the cabin, but deep down I knew it was something else, something watching me. The next morning, I checked around the outside of the cabin. The ground was soft from last night's rain, yet there were no footprints, just streaks of mud trailing up the wall, smeared across the glass where the scratching had been. I couldn't shake the feeling that someone or something had been there. A few nights later, I fell into a deep sleep, exhausted from the anxiety that had kept me up for days. When I woke, it was still dark, but I felt a pressure on the bed. I opened my eyes, and there at the foot of my bed was something hunched and gaunt, its limbs twisted and too long for its thin body. Its skin was pale and stretched tight over bony limbs. Its face, if you could even call it that, was a nightmare. Hollow, empty eyes sunk deep into its face, and a wide mouth stretched into a grotesque grin. It didn't move. It just sat there watching me with eyes that held no trace of humanity. I tried to scream, but my voice caught in my throat, strangled by sheer terror. I couldn't move, couldn't look away from those eyes. After what felt like an eternity, the creature slowly tilted its head, almost curiously. And then it spoke, or rather it whispered, in a voice that was somehow both soft and grating, like rusted metal dragged across stone. "Do you see me now?" it hissed, its words scraping through the stillness. "I've been waiting for you to notice." My heart thundered in my chest. Somehow I managed to blink, and in that tiny fraction of a second, the creature was gone. My room was empty, silent, but the sheets where it had sat were damp and cold. I spent the rest of the night curled up in the corner, lights blazing, clutching the biggest kitchen knife I owned. The next day, I didn't leave the cabin. I didn't eat, didn't sleep. I couldn't shake the memory of those eyes, that voice. I spent the entire night staring at the window, waiting, until the first hint of dawn crept over the horizon. Only then did I allow myself to close my eyes, just for a moment. That's when I saw it again, in the reflection of my bedroom mirror. It was standing just behind me, so close I could feel the chill radiating from its skin. Its head tilted to one side, its mouth pulled back in that horrible grin. "Come with me," it whispered, its voice winding through my thoughts like smoke. "Come with me." I threw myself backward, smashing into the dresser, and when I looked up, it was gone. But the fear lingered, thick and cloying, clinging to me like oil. I could feel it waiting, lurking just out of sight, watching me with those hollow, hungry eyes. I couldn't take it anymore. I packed a bag and drove to a friend's house in town, too terrified to look in the rearview mirror, afraid of what I might see. I didn't tell my friend the details, only that I needed somewhere to stay for a few days. She welcomed me in, giving me a warm meal and a place to sleep. For the first time in what felt like forever, I felt safe. That night, I drifted into a dreamless sleep. But around midnight, I felt that same weight, that same chilling presence. I opened my eyes and found myself staring at the ceiling, unable to move. It was there again, crouched in the corner of the room, those empty eyes glowing faintly in the dark. I could feel its cold, clawed fingers crawling across the bed, inching closer, reaching for me. "You can't run from me," it whispered. "I'm part of you now." The room went cold, and I felt something sharp scrape against my cheek, leaving a burning line of pain. I tried to scream, but my voice was trapped, locked by an invisible force. I could feel its breath, icy and foul, brushing against my skin. I knew in that moment that this thing, this creature, this Rake, was never going to leave. It had marked me, and no matter where I went, it would always find me. When I woke, my cheek was bleeding. I stumbled into the bathroom, hoping it had been a nightmare, but the mirror told me the truth. 3 long, jagged scratches marred my face, fresh and red, as if something with claws had marked me in the night. Since then, I've moved 3 times trying to escape it. But every night, no matter where I go, I can feel it waiting, just out of sight, whispering my name, promising that it's coming for me. It's in the reflections I catch from the corner of my eye, lurking just beyond the edges of my vision, always grinning, always watching. If you ever hear it, the scratching, the whispering, don't look, and whatever you do, don't listen. The rake is out there, and once it finds you, there's no escape.